In Taiwan's rich spiritual world, there's a heavenly helper for pretty much any problem life decides to throw at you. From finding your soulmate to absolutely acing your final exams, there's a whole celestial support system on call. So let's meet the team. And this isn't just about some abstract belief system, it's incredibly practical. Are you staring down a huge exam? Are you searching for your soulmate? Or maybe you're just hoping for a safe trip? Well, there's a specialist deity to call on for that. It's really where the sacred meets the everyday hustle. So here's how we're going to explore this divine world. We'll kick things off with the guardians of our daily lives. Then we'll meet the specialists for life's biggest moments. After that, we'll zoom out to see who's managing cosmic justice. And finally, we'll meet the figures who guide us toward wisdom and compassion. All right, let's start on the front lines, the guardians of daily life. These are the deities who are woven right into the fabric of the community, watching over everything from the quiet race paddies to the crazy, bustling city streets. You can really see just how practical these roles are. First up, you've got Matsu, the revered protector of anyone at sea. We're talking fishermen, sailors, everyone. Then there's Tudigung, who's kind of like a divine village elder, watching over the land and all its people. And in a cool modern twist, the fiery deity Neza, known as the Third Prince, has become the patron god for professional drivers and a fierce guardian of children. I love this detail because it just beautifully illustrates the personal relationship people have with these gods. The folklore says that if you're in a real emergency at sea, you don't use Matsu's formal titles. Why? Because she might feel like she needs to take a moment to groom and dress up if you're being so formal. The belief is that just calling her name directly brings a much, much faster rescue. Okay, so we've got help for our daily lives. But what about life's really big moments? Well, that's where the next group of specialists comes in, guiding people through those huge milestones like finding love and starting a family. For what is arguably life's biggest quest, finding a partner, you turn to Yu Lao. He's the divine matchmaker, and his entire job is to connect destined soulmates no matter where they are in the world. So how does he work his magic? It's fascinating. According to legend, everyone has an invisible red thread tied to their wrist, connecting them to their soulmate. Yu Lao has this marriage appointment book that he consults to figure out who's on the other end of your thread. And when he does his job well, happy couples often come back to his temple with offerings of wedding cake just to say thanks. And of course, love and marriage often lead to family. That's where the goddess of fertility comes in. She oversees everything from conception to delivery, and along with her 12 assistants, she protects kids all the way up until their teenage years. For health concerns, people pray to Emperor Baoxing, who was actually a real doctor back in the 10th century, and was so renowned for his skill and compassion that he became a god. All right, so we have deities for our personal lives, but who's managing the bigger picture? This next group is all about cosmic balance. They're the ones in charge of fortune, justice, and the moral order of the entire world. Success can take a lot of different forms, and there's a god for each. If you're looking for financial prosperity, you pray to the god of wealth, especially around Chinese New Year. But if it's academic achievement you're after, students will turn to the god of literature to help guide their pen during those crucial exams. But what if your needs are a bit more complex? Well, that's where Guan Gong comes in. He started out as a famous historical warrior, but he's since been elevated to a god who represents this incredibly powerful combination of virtues. And this is what makes him so unique. He embodies justice, courage, and loyalty. But here's the kicker, the unexpected twist. In his mortal life, he was also a really skilled bookkeeper. And that's exactly why today, he's the patron of everyone, from police officers to accountants and business owners. So how is all this moral bookkeeping managed? Think of it like a celestial performance review. The kitchen god is assigned to each and every household to observe your conduct all year long. Then, just before Chinese New Year, he files a report to the highest authority, the Jade Emperor. Based on that report, the Jade Emperor, who rules over heaven, earth, and the underworld, decides if your household deserves rewards or punishments for the year to come. So far, most of the deities we've met are rooted in Taoism, and they manage very practical, worldly affairs. But there's another spiritual path at play here. Buddhist figures known as bodhisattvas have a completely different goal. They're not here to manage the world, but to help every living being transcend it, using compassion and wisdom. And that brings us to our final section where the focus really shifts from improving this life to transcending it. We're now looking at figures whose entire purpose is to guide followers toward enlightenment and a higher state of being. So let's meet three of the most revered bodhisattvas. These are enlightened beings who have delayed their own nirvana just to help others. First, there's Guanyin, the absolute embodiment of compassion, who observes the cries of the world. Then you have Manjushri, who represents wisdom and actually wields a sword to cut through ignorance. And finally, Ksitigarbha, the guardian of the earth, who is known for making one of the most profound vows in any faith. Just think about that for a moment. Ksitigarbha has vowed to postpone his own final enlightenment, his Buddhahood, until every single being has been freed from the tortures of hell. It is an absolutely ultimate act of compassion and dedication. So what are the big takeaways here? Well, we've seen this vast celestial system that's designed to help with nearly every single part of human life. We've seen a broad distinction. Taoist deities often handle the practical, worldly stuff, while Buddhist figures focus on our spiritual goals. But really, underneath it all, they all reflect our universal hopes for guidance, for justice, and for compassion in a really complicated world. From daily commutes all the way to cosmic justice, this intricate system is a living reflection of our hopes and our fears. With heavenly helpers for literally every possible need, it leaves just one question: who would you pray to?